Jesus spoke about anxiety more than most people realize, but almost no one understands what he actually meant. And if you've been struggling, if your mind races at night, if fear follows you into ordinary moments, if you feel trapped inside your own thoughts, then what I'm about to share might be the most important thing you've ever heard about anxiety. Stay with me. You know that feeling. It starts quietly. A thought, then another. Then before you even realize it, you're 10 steps ahead of yourself, planning for problems that haven't happened, rehearsing conversations that may never occur, bracing for pain that exists only in your imagination. And the exhausting part isn't even the worry itself. It's that you know it's happening. You can see yourself doing it. You tell yourself to stop, and somehow that just makes it worse. You've probably felt like something is wrong with you, like everyone else has figured out how to be calm, how to be present, how to just live, and you're here, standing in the middle of your own life, unable to quiet the noise inside your head. No one talks about this. Not really. People say, just breathe, or think positive. But that doesn't touch what you're actually going through. Because what you're going through isn't a habit. It isn't weakness. It goes much deeper than that. And here's the thing. Jesus knew that. 2,000 years ago, he looked at people just like you, people drowning in fear and worry and mental suffering. And he said something that most of the world has never truly understood. Before we get there, I want you to consider something. What if anxiety isn't actually the problem? I know that sounds strange, maybe even a little frustrating to hear. But stay with me, because this one shift, this single reframe, has the power to change everything. Anxiety is a signal. It is not a flaw. It is not a punishment. It is your mind doing exactly what it was designed to do, scanning for danger, preparing for threat, trying to keep you safe. The problem isn't that your mind is broken. The problem is that your mind doesn't know the difference between real danger and imagined danger. It treats a racing thought about the future the same way it would treat a real threat standing in front of you. And once you see that, once you really see it, something begins to shift. Because you stop fighting yourself and you start to get curious instead. Now let's talk about what Jesus actually said. He said, "Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself." And most people hear that and think it's a nice sentiment. Comforting, maybe, but not exactly practical. Not for someone who is genuinely struggling. But what if he wasn't giving advice? What if he was pointing to something much deeper? Something about the nature of the mind itself. He also said, "Who of you by worrying can add a single hour to your life?" Read that again slowly. He wasn't saying worry is bad. He was pointing to something almost scientific. Worry does nothing. It changes nothing in the external world. It only happens inside you, and it costs you everything. This wasn't a religious instruction. This was an observation about consciousness, about how the human mind works, about where suffering actually comes from. Jesus was describing something that modern psychology is only now beginning to fully understand. Here's the first thing most people miss about anxiety. It is always about the future. Think about it. You cannot be anxious about this exact moment. Right now, reading these words, hearing this voice, you are here. You are safe. Anxiety only exists when the mind leaves the present and begins to live somewhere else. It begins to project, to imagine, to fear what might come. And the mind is extraordinarily good at this. It can construct entire scenarios, entire conversations, Entire catastrophes, complete with emotion, with tension, with a racing heart, none of which are actually happening. That is the prison, not the future, not even the fear. The prison is the absence of now. And when Jesus said, "Do not worry about tomorrow," he wasn't telling you to ignore tomorrow. He was pointing you back here, back to this, back to the only place where life is actually happening. But here's where it gets deeper. The reason anxiety feels so overwhelming, the reason it seems impossible to escape, is because most people are trying to fix it from inside the very mind that's creating it. You try to think your way out of anxious thoughts. You try to reason with fear. You try to control the future with enough planning, enough worrying, enough mental effort. And it doesn't work, because you cannot solve a fire with more fire. What Jesus was pointing to, and what the deepest spiritual teachers across every tradition have echoed, is that there is something in you that is not the mind, something that exists beneath the thoughts, something that watches the thoughts arise and pass without being consumed by them. Awareness. Not thinking about awareness, not analyzing it, just this quiet space behind your eyes, the part of you that notices you're worried, the part of you that can observe the panic without becoming the panic. That is who you really are, and this is what most people miss. You are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are things that happen in you. They move through you like weather moves through the sky. The sky does not become the storm. The sky holds the storm, and the storm passes, and the sky remains. You are the sky. You have always been the sky. Anxiety convinces you that you are the storm, that the fear is you, that the racing thoughts define you, that the worst-case scenarios are predictions, that the dread is reality. But when you step back, even slightly, into the awareness behind the thoughts, something remarkable happens. The thoughts don't disappear, but you stop being controlled by them. There is suddenly space, and in that space, there is peace. Jesus called this the kingdom within, not a kingdom somewhere else, not a reward waiting after death, something within you right now, a space of stillness and clarity that exists beneath all the noise. And no one can give it to you. No one can take it away. It is already there. It has always been there. So how do you actually access it? This is where I want to give you something real, something you can use today. The first thing is simply this: observe your thoughts instead of reacting to them. The next time anxiety rises, and it will, instead of immediately trying to fix it or fight it or reason with it, just notice it. Say to yourself, even silently, "I notice I'm having an anxious thought." Not, "I am anxious." But I notice an anxious thought is happening. That one small shift creates distance. It reminds you that you are the one doing the noticing. And something that is being noticed is not the same as the one who is noticing. The second thing is to return your attention to the present, not because the present is always comfortable, but because it is real. Right now, this breath, this moment, the weight of your body wherever you're sitting. This is real. The imagined disaster is not real. Come back here, even for one breath, then another. And third, and this is perhaps the most important, stop fighting the anxiety. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but resistance is fuel. When you fight a thought, you give it power. When you allow it to be there, when you say, "I see you, you can be here, I'm not afraid of you," it begins to lose its grip, slowly, gently, the way a storm quiets when you stop running from it. Now here's the transformation I want you to feel, right now, if you're open to it. Anxiety is not your enemy. It is not a sign that you are broken. It is a doorway. It is the thing that woke you up enough to start asking deeper questions. It is the discomfort that pushed you toward truth. Every person who has ever walked a genuine spiritual path began with suffering. Not because suffering is the goal, but because suffering has a way of cracking us open, of making us willing to look inward, of making us honest enough to say, the way I've been living isn't working. There must be something more. You are not failing at life. You are being invited into a deeper way of living it. The anxiety you've been carrying, it was never trying to destroy you. It was trying to show you that you were living somewhere other than here, somewhere other than now. And now you know where to come back to. I want to close with something quiet, something I hope stays with you. You have been searching for peace in all the right places, just outside yourself, in the future, in the certainty, in the control. And that search is exhausting because peace was never there. It was never going to be found by thinking more clearly, or planning more carefully, or worrying more productively. It was here. It has always been here, underneath the noise, underneath the fear, underneath every anxious thought that has ever moved through you. There is a stillness, a silence, something that has never been hurt, never been threatened, never been lost. Jesus pointed to it. Mystics across centuries have pointed to it. And somewhere inside you, even now, you can feel it. You are not your anxiety. You are the one who notices it. And that noticing, that quiet, steady awareness, is the beginning of freedom. If this resonated with you, you're not alone. More people than you know are carrying exactly what you've been carrying. And there's more to this than most people realize. If you're still searching for peace, for clarity, for a way through, keep watching. Keep asking the deeper questions, because the answers are closer than you think. They always have been. If you enjoyed this video, please help us out and hit the like button and subscribe for more. Your support is greatly appreciated. Let others know they're not alone and send them some love. Until next time, be blessed.